The first reading, well, not the first, the second today, it was so fitting. Father Gerard had died on the midnight hour on Monday, and on Tuesday it was this letter to the Hebrews, and one of the ladies of the parish pointed out to me how fitting it was. Brothers and sisters, God is not unjust so as to overlook your work and the love you have demonstrated for His name by having served and continuing to serve the holy ones. We earnestly desire each of you to demonstrate the same eagerness for the fulfillment of hope until the end. God is good to those who demonstrate this eagerness for the fulfillment of hope. God was good to Father Gerard as he labored to help others reach fulfillment in their chosen studies and careers and in their faith and moral development. We are, each of us, instruments of God, instruments for teaching, for nurturing, for sustaining and creating, for encouraging and for correcting. We do these things to become one with those around us, not to gain control or to be demanding. I want to read from several of the tribute notes sent by email or on card. There are many others. Said a graduate of 1969, Father Gerard was the most amazing teacher I ever had. He was knowledgeable, prepared, and informed, but most of all, he was patient. Take note of that. This gentleman described his discussion with the non-science majors, and this gentleman was one of those. Gerard outlined the quantum theory, then asked for questions, not one. He wound up reading it 7 times and eventually had some questions. But this man so admired, he said, I've never seen the patience of a teacher trying to make his point. A college board member of the 1980s wrote, it was his tenacity that kept the college functioning during difficult years for all of private and Catholic education. A parishioner of St. Benedict, mother of a young family, he was a warrior priest. I asked her last night, can we still use that word? He was a warrior priest and gave everything to his flock. How he labored for his beloved, his parish, his school, his families, the mothers and all their children. He was truly a pro-life priest in every sense. Life is a gift, so worth living, and he did just that, said this mother. Pat Carney sent along this note. More than 30 years ago, I was alumni director at Benedictine while Father Gerard was president. We traveled together quite a bit, almost always by car. My faith grew. My faith grew as a result of being a passenger. while he was behind the wheel. His opinion is better. His opinion of the driving ability of nearly all others on the highways fell a bit short of benevolent. He loved to challenge the road, and he loved to challenge the gas tank. As he tried to get it as close to empty as possible before filling it up. We once ran out of gas on Sunday evening in southern Oklahoma. After 15 years as president of Benedict College, he did student recruitment for Moore Mount Academy, fundraising for the Abbey, parish work in Atchison and St. Mary's. He became a champion of the Sacred Heart Variety Store and more, convinced of the new location in downtown that it would bring about increased visibility, sales, and help to families. As secretary of the Hunger Task Force here in Atchison, he helped fund needs of many. Father Gerard was named John Carl at birth, those names being the first names of his two grandfathers, Jean-Baptiste Senecal and Carl Strecker. Jean was a one-room school teacher in the French-speaking community around Demar and Zurich, northeast of Hayes. Father Gerard led the way for his siblings in continuing this commitment to being educated and educating others. Dad, my father Lionel John, surprised us when on his deathbed he was reciting Thanatopsis, a Greek ode to death. Characteristic, I think, of education 100 years ago that involved a lot of memorization, and for it to surface at that moment was astonishing. Father Gerard was the oldest child and thus the first to leave Atwood to attend high school in Atchison as a boarding student. Our father valued Benedictine community life and encouraged us to study and be good citizens. When John Carl entered the monastery, oh, that stroke of generosity, he bought new bicycles for my twin brother and me with money he had saved. I decided to look up Gerard as a saint. And of course, he's the saint of expectant mothers and difficult deliveries. Realized that his feast day is on October 16th, which is our birthday. And I thought, well, maybe we were a difficult birth already. I remember gathering of relatives in Atwood for the first Mass at Sacred Heart Church in 1954. Many of us went through a really western Kansas dust storm that day before the Mass. He went on to do graduate studies at Michigan and in Kansas, earning a doctorate in physics, developing the topic under NASA sponsorship, the preparation and properties of thin films of indium antimonide. There'll be a test shortly. I looked it up online this morning, and there were a lot of topics on that element or on that alloy. They were trying to develop a semiconductor metal for space communication. Father Gerard was a self-disciplined person, and he sought to help college students be the same as a teacher and a dorm director. He did this through encouragement and shared conversation and conviction. Father Gerard was a man with evident determination in whatever task he undertook as a leader or a participant. Through this kind of dedication, he attracted others. He was constantly being the minister to others in education, in parish life, in the welfare of the Abbey community, in concern for legislators at state and national levels. He was generous with his time, sincere in his concern, and very capable in his writing skills. Father Gerard was a model of love of parent. After our father died in 1976, he often cooked the evening meal for our mother in her Atchison home until her death in 1992. He enlivened her days with humor and kindly attention. His need to accomplish good sometimes led to his mowing all the home lawns on the west side of 2nd Street near Mom's home. I don't know whether it was with permission, certainly certainly not with payment. But it was something to watch his commitment with the lawnmower. During the last 2 hours of his life, I held his hands up at Senior Village to prevent him from pulling the oxygen tube from his nose and to indicate to him that we wanted to help him. He gripped my hands also as an expression, I think, of appreciation and even of dependence. I hoped that he would benefit from local rehab programs that would afford him time to be with those with whom he had shared many life accomplishments. Bonds in the Spirit will allow that giving of thanks still. I close with a paragraph that I heard Father Gerard preach or talk of a number of times. It's from the writings of Cardinal Newman. Somehow, I am necessary for God's purposes, as necessary in my place as an archangel in His. If indeed I fail, He can raise another, as He could make the stones to be children of Abraham. Yet I have a part in this great work. I am a link in a chain, a bond of connection between persons. He has not created me for naught. I shall do good. I shall do His work. I shall be an angel of peace, a preacher of truth in my own place, while not intending it if I do but keep His commands and serve Him in my calling. I sing the servant song different places and settings, and I think there's a couple of verses that will be appropriate. Will you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. We are pilgrims on a journey. We are travelers on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and bear the load. When we sing to God in heaven, we shall find such harmony, born of all we've known together, of Christ's love and agony.